Great Replacement Job Shock. 1.3 million native-born Americans just lost their jobs, replaced by 635,000 immigrants. This is not a theory. The Great Replacement is not a theory. This is really happening. Native-born Americans, American citizens, are being replaced by illegal immigrants. I mean, that's a fact. I don't care what they try to say. Oh, this is a conspiracy theory and all this other stuff. No, this is real, and we're gonna talk about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. And there's a link to my Instagram and my X as well, where I put tons of news throughout the day there as well. All right, so let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from Tyler Durden from Zero Hedge. And he reports that at the start of the year, many months after we first pointed out that the biggest untold story of the U.S. labor market was the great replacement of native-born workers with foreign-born workers, most of whom we subsequently learned were illegal aliens, we asked how is the great replacement of U.S. workers, quote, not the biggest political talking point right now, considering that since October 2019, native-born U.S. workers have lost 1.4 million jobs. Over the same period, foreign-born workers have gained 3 million jobs. And here's the tweet right here that Zero Hedge put out. 9 months later, we are delighted to see that our relentless efforts to bring attention to the critical topic finally worked, and the relentless replacement of native-born workers with immigrants and illegal aliens was finally the biggest political and media talking point, as demonstrated by such articles as How Immigration Remade the U.S. Labor Force by the Wall Street Journal, and Without Immigrants, U.S. working age population would shrink from Bloomberg, both of which are an extension of the latest and greatest narrative, first spawned by Fed Chair Powell and then picked by Goldman, which came down to the following. You can have record illegal immigration, or you can have even more breakneck inflation. So don't be bad and just accept the roving gangs of Venezuelan murderers in your neighborhood if you know what's good for you. That's basically what they said. And you got Zero Hedge tweeting this out as well. There it is. You can have illegal immigration, or you can have even more inflation. He tweeted also, how is this not the biggest political talking point right now? But again, they're finally admitting it now. But which brings us to today's jobs report, where the native versus foreign-born debate just exploded. As we discussed earlier, superficially, the August payroll report was a mixed bag. On one hand, it was disappointing in that the payroll print came in softer than expected, but was a big bounce from sharply downward revised June and July prints. On the other hand, the unemployment rate did drop from the Sham rules recession trigger level of 4.3% to 4.2%, and effectively eliminated the clear-cut case for a 50 BPS rate cut, especially since the household survey was not only far stronger than the established survey, but indicated the biggest increase in employment since March. That at least was a quantitative view. And while that was mixed, there was no confusion in the picture painted by the qualitative aspect of the jobs report. Here's everything. Here, everything was a disaster. Starting at the top, while the number of the employment workers did rise by 168,000, looking closer at the composition of this increase is disastrous. That's because it consists of an increase of 527,000 part-time jobs offset by 438,000 plunge in full-time jobs. So people are losing their full-time jobs. So to make up for it, they're getting like 2 part-time jobs, or they're getting a part-time job to make up for it. That's why you got that increase in part-time jobs, which will inflate the jobs numbers because people aren't working full-time really. This means that since last June, the U.S. has added just over 2 million part-time jobs and lost over 1.5 million full-time jobs. Needless to say, part-time jobs pay a far less, don't offer benefits, and generally lead to a suboptimal outcome for the labor market, one of which is the need to get more than one job. And sure enough, the numbers of multiple job holders or people who, for whatever reason, have more than one job jumped above 8.5 million back to all-time highs. So again, these numbers are deceptive because they're getting multiple part-time jobs. And while the quality of the job gains in the past year has clearly been catastrophic, a necessary condition to give the impression that headline or quantitative job growth was strong, there was a very clear reason for that, and it goes back to what we have been pounding the table on in the past. The reason is the continued replacement of native-born workers with immigrants, some legal but mostly illegal, and as the following chart follows, it is anything but theory. It is cold, hard fact. Presenting Exhibit A, the number of native-born versus foreign-born workers in August. Here we go. You got the native-born, got the foreign-born, way outpacing. In an absolute shocker of a data point, in the past month, the U.S. added 635,000 foreign-born workers while losing 1.325 million native-born workers. That was tied for the biggest one-month drop in native-born workers since the COVID crash. But it's not just the past month or two or three. As regular readers know, the reason why suddenly we are bombarded with media pitches for why illegal immigrants are actually great for you is that the U.S. has not created a single job for native-born workers since July 2018. And in that interval, it has created 4.7 million jobs for immigrants, both legal and illegal. I mean, that is crazy. Look at this chart here. Foreign-born, native-born. Finally, for those wondering when the great replacement fact, again, not theory, kicked in, the following chart showing the historical divergence between native and non-native born workers will make it clear. The gap first emerged at the start of the Biden administration and has exploded to a record size today. Look at that. Since Biden been in. Crazy. Finally, for those who would push back that these are mostly legal immigrants, here is what Standard Chartered strategist Stephen Englander wrote at the start of June to refute that claims and prove that most of these immigrant workers are virtually all illegal. Echoing what we have said for the past 2 years, myself included, Englander wrote that immigration, particularly illegal immigration, quote, is a political flashpoint that has also become an important factor in assessing economic performance. Detailed data from U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, Border Protection, CBP, and U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, suggests that half of non-farm payrolls, NFP, growth to date for fiscal year 24, started October 2023, has been from undocumented immigrants who have received an employment authorization document, EAD. He defines undocumented immigrants as those who enter the U.S. through non-traditional immigration pathways, such as asylum seekers, parolees, and refugees, i.e. illegals. Quote, the ability to track EAD issuance to undocumented workers is an advantage in estimating how much they have contributed to employment growth. NFP counts workers with an EAD just like any other. Using that data, it is easy to estimate that undocumented workers have added 109,000 jobs per month to NFP out of the average of 231,000 increase so far in fiscal year 24. Wow. Which is a big problem because, as the BLS now admitted with the revision 2 weeks ago, the monthly increase in jobs in the past year was not 230K as it was indicated previously, but rather 150K, which means all of those jobs created, every single one of those jobs were going to illegal aliens, is basically what we're saying here. So if the true pace of jobs creation in the past year was 150K and another 109,000 jobs per month are illegal aliens, that leaves just 40,000 jobs for everyone else, i.e. law-abiding citizens. So 40,000 jobs really were the only jobs created. that went to natural citizens here in the United States. The rest of them, overwhelming majority of it, went to illegal aliens. It also means that great worker replacement scandal aside, the labor market in the U.S. has, for the past year, been an absolute catastrophe and harbinger of economic disaster. Wow. But I mean, this is proof positive what I've been saying about the Great Replacement theory, and this doesn't even go into the demographics of black people and things like that. We are the real ones, major ones being replaced right now, and I think more people need to speak about that. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.